Here's a fun little example of the sort of problem-solving puzzle that instruments can sometimes be. So I got this clarinet in, and I'm looking at the lower joint, and this key right here, which is the FC key, should be opening as far as this one is. And so I'm looking at this key, and I'm like, okay, what could be holding that closed? So the first thing to check is always going to be the lever that actually actuates that key. The lever itself is moving, and the gap between the lever and the key, there's plenty of space, so it's not that it's holding it closed. So there's got to be something else affecting this key. The next option is taking a look at what we call the crow's foot, which is this piece right here. It's called the crow's foot because on some clarinets, traditionally, it's shaped kind of like a crow's foot instead of like an oval like that. It's got two little bits going up like that. And that piece is basically what provides the adjustment for the regulation between these two keys. And a lot of the time that can get smushed down because of, kids grabbing it wrong when they're putting it together and things like that. And so looking at the crow's foot, it does look like it's in contact with this key here, which is not opening any further than that. So that key is acting on this one and holding it closed. Now, why is this key held down so far? That key actually activates the one over here, and it's being held open. That's not what should happen. And so I check, of course, around the key. It hasn't been bent. It's not actually hitting the edges around this tone hole here. So that's not the issue. And the lever that actuates that one seems to be free of all obstruction as well. And so this actually comes down to one of the most common clarinet issues I see on very specific styles of clarinets. And it's actually that this little rod, this little arm here, sticks out from the post in order to provide a stop for your G sharp right here. And this key is opening way too far. And on this instrument, as well as many others, including most modern Yamahas, this arm here should actually be sticking straight out, if not slightly upward. So what happens is, instead of smushing the C key, like I was expecting, this kid actually smushed this key when they were putting it together, and it shoved that arm down, and that arm is pushing down on that key, which is holding this one closed. So it's a whole puzzle. And the nice thing about this is that if I just angle this up a little bit again, back to where it should be, everything is freed and works as it should. Now it's touching both of these keys. This one is as high as it should be. That one is closing. And suddenly this lower joint works. It's always a fun little experiment. Even on clarinets, which are technically one of the simpler woodwind instruments, you can still have interesting puzzles like that.